Hi, today at Cake to the Rescue we're here to talk about 3D cakes. I can understand if you look at the site and you've not baked many cakes before, you might find the 3D cake a little intimidating. Well, here we're hoping today that we're going to prove to you that you can also manage a 3D cake yourself at home without any troubles. So here are a few tips to get you started. Today we're going to use the dump truck as an example to help you understand how to make the first move. By getting the cake out of the disposable bake tray. Undo the flaps at the end. If you feel that it's stuck to the sides in any way, you can just run your knife round just to take any edge off. And the same on the bottom. You pull it away, yep, this one's pulling away fine, but again, you can run your knife along the bottom if necessary. It's always better to loosen everything right at the start because it's much harder once you've cut it into small pieces to try and loosen that away from the base. This cake is actually reasonably flat, but we can take off just the edge of it so we can make sure that it stacks nicely. You can see there's a little bit of a dome here, so we're just going to start there. Hold your knife vertically, horizontally, and cut away. Again, it's better if you only take a section at a time because you can always take more off. It's a lot harder if you take too much off at the start. You'll end up cutting your cake down too far. I've removed the skin layer off the top. I can smoothly cut the cake surface. Go in very shallow and take a small layer off the surface, holding your knife flat so that you don't wedge in. Bend down and you will be able to see the thickness of your cake so that you can see clearly how much you need to remove. I'm going to swivel my cake round so I can see it from the other side. If you have a cake leveler, of course you can use that, but I find that most people don't have one unless you're a cake baker regularly, and therefore it's important to know how to do this normally. This cake is already pretty flat, as you can see. You can see because of the evenness of the two sides. You can see I have removed all the crumbs from the excess. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my cake over. Even though I've created a flat surface, it's obvious that the bottom surface of the cake will always be truly the flattest surface, and you get a nice crisp surface for doing your icing later, and will give you a nice surface. Now, the next job is to cut the cake in half. In order to get an even cut through the middle of the cake, I'm going to measure and mark. So you take the full length and divide by half. In this case it's 14.5. I'm going to put a small mark, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now I line up the two marks and put a rough line, and then I cut straight through the middle. Don't worry about it being exact, we can trim up afterwards. Now take one half of the cake and lift it on to the other half of the cake. In order to straighten the sides of the cake now, you can see that this side is not quite even. Take your knife and run straight through the entire cake to create a nice clean edge. Tilt round and create another clean edge. A third clean edge, and a fourth clean edge. You now have a very nice clean cake on which to start the rest of your design. This perfect 3D box can be used as the same principle to start with your dump truck, with your fire engine, and also with the mine cake. You can also use that as the same principle for your digger. Even though the digger has separate places, it's about getting the sides and the back and front square and clean before you start making your other shapes.